Welcome to Millan Foundation Conversations, where we talk all things community, philanthropy, and connect people together. We hope you enjoy our show.
Welcome to Millan Foundation Conversations. I'm 𝗀𝗲𝗏, your host today. Joining us today are Gary and Mary LinFoots. Welcome. Founders of the American Mobility Project. In today's episode, we're going to learn a little bit about Gary, a little bit about Mary, a little bit about the history of the American Mobility Project. You may hear us refer to it today as AMP. That's obviously the acronym for American Mobility Project. We're going to learn about its mission to provide essential mobility equipment and the impact of giving back and overcoming obstacles. We'll discuss how AMP is ensuring greater accessibility and independence for individuals with disabilities and the profound difference that you guys and AMP is making in our communities. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you very much for that. You guys have a beautiful place. I was talking to you guys about it earlier out in Adams. But I know, Gary, you're not from here, correct? Where are you from?
That's correct. Originally, I don't tell too many people this, but originally Southern California, a long time ago.
Oh, outstanding.
Yeah, so right there in the LA area.
Any family still out there?
I've got my sister and brother are still out there, but everybody else is gone.
How far are they from where the fires and everything that's been going on out there?
They're quite a ways. But my sister's husband, he actually flies for Cal Fire. So he's flying C-130s, dropping fire retardant on those fires.
Those guys dipping into that water. I was watching video of that. I just couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
Those guys picking up that water. That's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
All those guys, they got some skills for sure.
Unbelievable. And Mary, where are you from?
I'm from Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I grew up there and had a lot of farm families. My grandparents were from South Dakota, so I spent some time up on the farm, and but mostly down in Sioux City.
Outstanding. Well, how did you guys meet? Who made the first move?
She did. She was pretty aggressive. Yeah. I was a suave and debonair pilot with the scarf and all that. She just couldn't resist my charms, I guess. No, we got set up on a blind date with some friends of ours. And we hit it off right away. And
we met when he was stationed in Monterey, California. He was stationed at Fort Ord, and I was out there working. I had just been transferred there with my job, and we met then.
Was it the uniform that did it?
I guess so.
Yeah.
It's the whole
all
pilot
the zippers
wings.
on the flights.
That's right. That's right. It's prior to all the medals. You mentioned the military. You mentioned meeting when he was in the military. Gary, tell us about your decision to go in the military, really what led to that and the story that seats us here today.
And for me, I was just always attracted to aviation. So I think I knew all along I was going to go into the military, one of the branches, and the Army had the fastest route to a cockpit. So shortly after high school, I joined the Army and kind of took the long way to get to flight school, just because I had some recruiters that maybe weren't as honest as they should have been.
Tell you the truth.
That's right. Yeah,
I find that hard to believe.
But it all worked out for the best, and I learned a lot when I was stationed over in Germany as a enlisted soldier working on the borders out there, and found my way into flight school and went to flight school, and then from there start flying helicopters.
Which aircraft did you start out in?
So when I went through flight school, they start you off in the UH-1 Huey. That's where you did all your primary stuff. And then I went into the scout track where I was flying OH-58s. So I graduated flight school flying those, went to Fort Ord, flew those at Fort Ord for about 3 or 4 years, I guess we were there. And then we went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and I flew the OH-58D Kiowa Warriors. And we were stationed there at Fort Bragg for about 5 years. And then in 96, I assessed for the 160th, had a favorable assessment, PCS chair to Fort Campbell for assignment with the 160th, flying the AH-6 Little Birds.
That was in 97, you said?
By the time I got here, it was 97, January 97.
What did you guys think of Clarksville when you got here?
It was a lot smaller back then. Now, we were somewhat familiar with Clarksville because we had some friends that were stationed with 101st here, and when we would drive from Fort Bragg to Sioux City, Iowa to visit Mary's parents for, over the summer or holidays, Clarksville was right at the halfway point. So it was 12 hours from Bragg, and then from here another 12 hours to Sioux City. So we we would pass through Clarksville quite often and kind of saw it growing over the years. But in 97, it was still pretty small, I guess.
And it's amazing what really Fort Campbell has done for this community. Just bringing in people from all over. It's created this just amazing melting pot.
Oh, yeah.
It fascinates me all the time. I said something to you guys earlier today. Just really love the community. You know, I'm not from here, and just love the fact that everything that it has to offer. So outstanding. So assessed, joined the 160th, got into the Little Bird right off the bat.
Yep, that's what I assessed for.
Okay,
was the Little Bird.
And then tell us about some of your deployments and what led to the accident.
So prior to 9/11, you know, all of our deployments were pretty much here at CONUS, maybe a couple of OCONUS doing things, but they were all you know, training missions, and they were it was quite rigorous, and we were always training. If not here in the local area, we were on the road going somewhere. So Mary can kind of speak to this, but we were just always coming and going. So we were always on the road, it seemed. Once 9/11 happened, the training, it switched from mostly being training missions here stateside to we were doing a lot of deployments overseas. So from October, for me personally, from October 2001 until my accident in May of 2008, it was just constantly bouncing overseas. I did one tour to Afghanistan early on, right at the beginning, and then I did 20 rotations over to Iraq. Yeah, and when so when I got hurt, I was in Walter Reed, and they'd come up and they'd ask you a series of questions checking for a TBI. They say, how many times have you deployed to Iraq? And I'm like, I think it's about 20, 21 times, something like that. And they'd get real quiet, just kind of write it down. They're like, obviously this guy's been hit in the head. Right. Yeah, because, our deployments were a lot shorter, anywhere from 30 to 90 days. But we would bounce over there quite frequently, sometimes, 5 times a year, if not more.
And so you mentioned your accident earlier. Tell us what happened. Tell us a little bit about that.
It was just for us, a standard mission for an AH-6 going in to provide close air support to a ground force. And this particular night, we never even got to the objective. We were in holding, waiting to be called in, and the aircraft experienced a mechanical malfunction. Lost all power to the rotor system, so we did an auto rotation. It was just after we had taken off, so we were still heavy on gas. We had a full load of ammunition, so the aircraft was very heavy. Under goggles, windy, dusty conditions, as were normal conditions over in Iraq, and got it on the ground, but we hit pretty hard. And immediately upon impact, I felt my lower back just explode, and my legs just kind of flopped over. My co-pilot, he broke his back, hit his head, so he wasn't knocked unconscious, but he was kind of delirious for a while. He was able to egress the helicopter. I was stuck in the helicopter, and then from there we just kind of went through the recovery process, getting off the crash site to the hospital, and then began that journey home.
And Mary, while that's going on, you're back here in Clarksville, and so not trying to relive it, but how was that, finding out that news?
Yeah, the day of the accident, I had spent the whole day at the ball field with my daughter. She was playing travel ball, but the tournament was in Clarksville. And I remember stopping at the grocery store and getting my son's favorite ice cream because he'd been home by himself most of the day. And I walked in the door, and it's back when you had a phone on the wall. So I went and I answered it, and it actually was Gary. And he said, "Has the unit contacted you?" And I, my heart sank because I thought something happened to somebody else, something tragic. And anyway, he said that he was in a hard landing, and that he broke his back. And of course, I felt really bad because I felt like, oh gosh, you're going to have a bad back for the rest of your life. And then he said that he had problems feeling his legs in certain areas, couldn't really move them. And I kind of just put that on the back burner because I didn't want to be over dramatic about it. And I thought, oh gosh, I do remember looking across it's funny the things you remember, but I do remember looking across my living room, and we had just moved in this house about a year ago, and we'd planned it out and had it built and all that. And my floors were new and shiny. And I thought, oh, it's okay if they get all scratched up from some like braces or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it is strange the way you think. My daughter had driven separately. She'd walked in the door. My son was there. And of course, they could tell something wasn't right. And so they were both standing around me. And for some reason, I was given the idea to have them talk to him so that they could hear his voice and hear that he was, quote, okay. And I'm so thankful for that. And when we hung up, my son, who was 14 at the time, just looked at me and said, Mom, this means he never has to go back, right? So what he cared about and probably what he worried about all these deployments and all these years was that his dad wouldn't come home someday. So again, that's like a lot of perspective. The next few days were a complete whirlwind as I got ready and packed up to leave, which I didn't know how long I was going to leave for, but I left for 90 days. So I had to find, somebody to take care of the kids, somebody to take care of the house, the kids were 16, 14, and our 21-year-old daughter's in college in California. So it was a crazy time, but God provided and we made it through that time.
So that's tough. And the phone call, do you remember the phone call, talking with the kids, Gary?
A little bit. I remember being there at the cache in Baghdad. Well, not Baghdad, up in Mosul at this time. And nurse handed me the phone and said, here, give me your wife's number, and dialed the phone and said, talk to your wife. So it was just, and it was kind of weird for me because of the unit we were in, we didn't make phone calls like that. And if there was some sort of mishap, there were protocols to be followed. So I thought it very strange that they're at the hospital. They just handed me the phone and said, talk to your family. Because at that point I was kind of keeping track of time, but it's hard to keep track of exact time. So I knew it had been less than 2 hours from the incident to being there at the hospital. So I said, well, maybe the unit has contacted her already. I wasn't sure.
But truly, I mean, really, with the secrecy of the unit, with the Army, the way the Army operated, to be able to have that phone call, to be able to have that conversation too with your children. Yeah. Truly a God thing there that day. Yeah. Absolutely.
It was the best way to find out too, because it's better to hear him. And it was much better to hear that way. Yeah.
We could hear his voice. Hear his voice, not somebody telling you he's okay.
Right.
Big difference there. Yeah. Really big difference there. So you begin the recovery. Yep. You go over for 90 days, Mary. Tell us what that's like, and then how long does that recovery? What kind of process is that?
So my back was all messed up with the fracture. I had a burst fracture at L1 and T12. They didn't want to do surgery in Iraq just because it's dirty conditions. So so I ended up going to 𝗙𝗪𝗪, Germany, where they did the surgery. And I can remember going into surgery, my body felt one way, and then as soon as I came out of surgery, it was a totally different feeling. And I just thought, it's just weird. And I told the doctors about it, and they said, well, it's just spinal shock. That feeling will wear off. Because going into surgery, I could still feel parts of my legs. I had no movement, but I could feel things. Like I could feel the backs of my calves, the insides of my thighs. When I came out of surgery, it was a totally different feeling. It almost felt like if I was in a real tight wetsuit is what it felt like, if I were going to describe it. So they said, it's just spinal shock. It'll wear off. So from there, I went to Walter Reed, and at Walter Reed, it was kind of a different experience at Walter Reed. We were there. How long were we there? About 15 days, 17 days, something like that. And one of the things being at Walter Reed, they asked me, so, okay, so what are your plans? When you leave Walter Reed, where are you going?
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at Docs and I was like, I don't have a plan. This was never in my plans.
This wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah.
Sure.
Please tell me I'm
Right.
not the first guy to come through here in this condition, and that you guys have a plan. At that time, we had some SOCOM contacts there at Walter Reed, and they handled a lot of stuff, and they gave me some advice. And basically, there were several centers I could go to because they would farm out spinal cord injuries to the VA because the Army just isn't equipped to deal with those kind of injuries. So we chose to go down to Tampa, Florida, and went and start the recovery process there, and everything went pretty good. At a certain point, probably about 45 days post injury, they kept telling me, "Hey, you're going to recover. You should have movement," based on what they were seeing on the X-rays. And at the 45-day mark, it just wasn't happening. So it was, it's kind of the realization that this is going to be permanent. I kind of thought that all along, but you still held on to hope that you would get some sort of movement back.
Someone have that conversation with you, or was that a realization that came just by a chain?
That was a conversation. Yeah. Essentially, during the surgery, an artery got clamped off, and it cut off blood flow to the spinal cord, so it just killed it altogether. So you dust yourself off from that, and then you keep moving forward. So from Tampa, we went to the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia, to finish the recovery. And the treatment in Atlanta was essentially the same as I was getting there in Tampa with the VA. We chose to go there just because sometimes you just don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So went up there and did a few things differently, but by and large, it was the same sort of treatment we were getting. And then from there, we came home, and that was, all in all, about a 3-month recovery, and then come back home and get on with life, and home adaptations, wheelchairs, medical appointments. Started going back to work at the compound. No longer flying a helicopter, obviously, but working as the officer in charge of a new aquatics facility that we were opening up. So that gave me something to do, something to focus on, and still, do something that was beneficial to not only myself but others. And then in 2010, retired from the Army, and I immediately went to work as a contractor in a flight simulator, and I did that for about 7 years.
On Fort Campbell?
On Fort Campbell, yeah. They're with the 160th and the Little Bird simulator, which was a great job. We started working with a nonprofit organization called the Infinite Hero Foundation. And eventually they asked me if I would be interested in working with them as their grants manager. So I started up a small company, left my job as a flight simulator, and then took on this new role as the grants manager with this nonprofit. Now, it was right about the time, just before COVID hit. COVID hit, it pretty much shut that organization down. They didn't have funding coming in, so they could no longer fund that position. So it went away. And then that's also about time that we started up American Mobility Project, and that was 2019. So during all this, excuse me, we were also receiving a home from the 𝗀𝗁𝗲 Foundation. And that just kind of opened up a lot of options for us, and we thought the timing was perfect to start American Mobility Project, and so that's where it got its start, and kind of the history behind why we wanted to start American Mobility Project was when I got home, I was post injury. I benefited from some high tech mobility equipment.
If I could stop you there for a second. So that was 2013, was that the exoskeleton?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure what year it was, but that's probably about right.
2014, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about that. I was gonna bring you, because you went to 2020. I was gonna bring you back to that exoskeleton.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was talking about some high tech mobility equipment, two of the main items were the 𝗙𝗏𝗏 wheelchair and also the exoskeleton. The exoskeleton, that's how we got our introduction to the Infinite Hero Foundation.
Gotcha.
Because they provided the grant that purchased that, and it was part of a FDA trial for the VA, and we walked in that thing an hour a day, 5 days a week for a year straight.
How was that?
It was, at times it was a little tough. That's a lot of walking in that device, which you think walking would be fine, but it's not quite like that. You're kind of balancing yourself like a tripod, with your arms being two of the legs. So you got pressure on your shoulders and on your wrist. So over time, that did cause a little bit of discomfort and some problems.
I saw you made People magazine.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
2014.
Yeah, I made the cover, right?
Yeah. He was on the Today Show and People magazine. And
I remember that. I mean, I was here in Clarksville. I remember that. Found the People magazine. But,
kind of looking back on those days, it was just some of the places we found ourselves was truly incredible, and kind of shake your head. And it was like, what? How did I end up here of all places?
Well, you say that, but you made a lot of conscious decisions along the way that put you into those situations. You chose to go down the path that you went down, and chose to be an active participant, and Mary chose to be an active participant with you. So I think, you say that, but you put yourselves into those positions by decisions that the two of y'all made. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah. A lot of times you make those decisions and you don't know what's going to come of it. And you just kind of go with the flow of events after you make the commitment to do something. But it was a wonderful device. I was able to use it to walk both my daughters down the aisle when they got married.
Amazing.
Just standing in the exoskeleton and being able to be eye level and that, it just, it's the same feeling as winning. It's just like, there was a lot of real times when it was just like a really good feeling, and you felt like you were giving hope to people in different circumstances, just in that way. Gary he did a lot of work to, help put these devices out there, and helped other nonprofits raise money through that, just kind of being an example, and just doing the things that he did, touched a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Well, and that study helped get the exoskeletons into the VA system. So now veterans that need them can get devices like that through the VA.
And our marriage survived it. Like he said, we walked an hour a day, 5 days a week for a year, and I had to spot him the whole entire time. So that was, kind of a lot of togetherness, walking around the kitchen and through the living room.
Circle eight path going through the living room.
And I'm sure it was nothing but bliss.
Yeah,
and you got along wonderful the whole time, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Whacking me on the back of the head.
To 2020 and the American Mobility Project, the creation of that, or ish, right around 2020, I think you said.
We did the paperwork and started the initial funding in 2019. But our first fundraiser was in 2020. Yes. Yeah, right at the height of COVID. Yeah, it shut the country down, and we were like trying to raise money to purchase an 𝗙𝗏𝗏 chair for an individual here in Clarksville, and we were like, well, if we can raise enough for one, that's great. And if we're one and done, so be it. But if we raise enough for more, we'll just keep going as long as we have support of the community and other folks throughout the country, and we'll just keep trucking along. And remarkably enough, here we are, still going.
You worked hard to get to 2020. Yeah. From 2008 to 2020, you worked hard to get there. We talked about decisions. We talked about, making those positive decisions, putting you in some places. But now you're like, I tell you what, I'm going to do something really, really hard again. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to raise money for other people. Tell me about that decision. I mean, was that a joint decision fairly? Was that, where did that come from?
It was. Well, and I'll go back to, kind of decisions made, and how that helped put us on the path that we're on now, working with that nonprofit, Infinite Hero Foundation, as well as other nonprofits. We saw the good things that were done. We saw things that were not so good. And we were kind of able to learn from our experiences and figure out how to jump into this world of nonprofits. And so working with those organizations helped us out quite a bit.
I'm looking back at it, I could say, we had this idea, or we learned this, or we learned that. And it's like, honestly, we didn't do anything. God was just like sending us on all these little things to learn from and showing us the way. And, I've come to learn that I didn't have an idea. I was told to do something, I was led to do something. And I don't know that it was so much decisions as it was a plan was laid out for us, honestly.
In that initial early stages, what are some of the biggest challenges that you guys ran into? Setting everything up.
Setting up the nonprofit. Well, coming up with money, to do what we wanted to do. That's probably the main obstacle. And then just kind of, I won't say fumbling our way through it. At times we were kind of fumbling our way through the paperwork and setting up the organization. But being as small as we were, it wasn't that hard. I mean, we knew the basics of what we needed. And then we just went forward, and we made some mistakes along the way. Some things, looking back now, that we would have done a little differently. But overall, it was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and one of the things that really helps us with American Mobility Project in raising money is it's so tangible. People can see where their money's going because they see the equipment and they see the difference it makes in somebody's life. So it's it makes it easier for us to show how it works and what we do and what is done with their money. So I think that helps us because asking for money and all that is not my favorite thing to do.
It's not that easy, is it?
It's the worst.
Yeah.
But you mentioned that, that tangible. So one of the things that I found fascinating, I believe I was at that first fundraiser.
Yes.
But one of the things I found fascinating was, I thought, okay, Gary, LinFoots, Mary, prior service, this is going to be a prior service thing. And it's not. I counted 60 something recipients, and it's probably behind a little bit on the website, so tell me the thought process there on this is not a service connected thing, because it doesn't appear to be barely at all.
Yeah. Well, so when I came home post injury, I was the recipient of an 𝗙𝗏𝗶𝗴𝗶 wheelchair. I had received a track chair, exoskeleton. I had a primary wheelchair, a backup wheelchair, and then over time I had another backup to the backup. So as a veteran, I was well taken care of. And what the VA couldn't provide or did not provide, there are a lot of nonprofits that geared their operations towards the post 9/11 veterans. So I was well taken care of. And early on, when I received that 𝗙𝗏𝗶𝗴, we were introduced through an organization called 𝗙𝗏𝗶𝗴𝗶 down in Dallas, Texas, and we would travel down there every year. And we would also do some other things with them throughout the year. But we linked up with the Medal of Honor Foundation, and when we would go down for 𝗙𝗏𝗶𝗴, we would go to schools and we would talk about service, sacrifice, patriotism, cost of freedom, and the importance of education, especially in the STEM field. And, we would showcase this equipment we had. We would show what the 𝗙𝗏𝗶𝗴 did. And it truly is a remarkable piece of equipment. It acts as a power chair. It's also got off-road capability, goes up and down stairs, and then using Segway technology will stand up and balance on two wheels and bring the user up to sitting height of about 6 feet tall. And interesting note about the correlation between the 𝗙𝗏 and the Segway is the man who invented the Segway invented the 𝗙𝗏 first.
Oh, wow.
And the Segway just kind of, he says, kind of came as a joke almost. One of his techs was in the back room, kind of balancing and riding the base of the unit, surfing on it, having a good time. And he says, I got an idea. And so that idea turned into the Segway.
Yeah. And you're in the 𝗙𝗏 today.
I'm in the 𝗙𝗏 today. Yeah. Yeah. So I had all this remarkable equipment and assets available to me. And when we would travel to schools and throughout the country, we would come across people that, they were just in these beat up wheelchairs that didn't fit right. The equipment was worn out and, they couldn't get updated equipment. And then they would see this remarkable chair or this exoskeleton and ask how they can get one of those, and insurance doesn't pay for it.
Got no government behind them.
So that was the first bad news for them is insurance doesn't cover it. And then, they ask, well, how much does it cost? And it's like, well, at the time the 𝗙𝗏, in 2000, early, mid 2000s, it was about 25,000 a copy. An exoskeleton was 100,000. So it's just out of reach of most people.
Certainly.
Because you think of a family, with a child with a disability. That's costing the family a lot of money just to provide what they need. And then if you're an adult and you're the breadwinner of the family and you get injured, more than likely you're going to lose your source of income because you're not going to be able to do the job you were doing prior. So just the financial burden of the injury is great, and to afford the equipment, it's really out of reach of most people. And if it is within their reach, they're having to sacrifice quite a bit to get it. The 𝗙𝗏 chairs now are about
37 to 41.
40, yeah. So that's the price of a new car.
So of those stories that we mentioned, the 60 plus, is there one that stands out?
There's a lot that stand out.
There's some really incredible stories out there of fortitude and perseverance and pushing through the challenges of their disability and just, continuing on and doing great things.
We have, everything from, we have high school kids that are gone on to college and been able to just excel in college because they were able to get around the campus and they're the leader of clubs or, whatever. And we have a gentleman who got an 𝗙𝗏 this year, and he's probably, 60-ish, and he's the first time he's been able to go around his property in 20-some years. And he sends us a picture like every week. It's like, I got to do this and I got to, come out and see the flowers budding, and I haven't been able to do that in forever. We've done some like adaptive stroller kind of things for kids that were, born with mobility and cognitive issues actually. And when it snows, we'll see that they'll have put the skis on the stroller thing. So then they're, out in the snow, or they've gone to the beach, or they're just out hiking, or they were able to go to 𝗙𝗏 Cave, or, just, so it's big things and little things. And we've had parents be able to go out now and coach their child, not only get down to the soccer field. How do you get to the soccer field in a regular manual wheelchair? It's difficult. And now they're able to get down on the field, but they're also able to coach. They can go up and down the field. Wow. And just so many things.
We've got Hope, who was our second recipient of an 𝗙𝗏. And probably the first video she sent us is she's on the family farm in the 𝗙𝗏, and she's out there castrating bull calves, turning them into steers.
That is a video you'll remember.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa. And, now she's gone on. She's still in she finished.
She graduated.
She graduated?
Yeah. Yep. And she's, her goal is to go to veterinary school now. And so she's she's working hard at it.
Yeah, she wants to
Amazing.
be a large and small animal veterinarian. And the iBot made it possible for her to not only access the family farm and access the veterinary school on campus, but also navigate her way through the campus with, well, you know how it is here in Tennessee. You got all these hills and everything. And
Matthew, one of our recipients, he works at Boat Dock up out on Kentucky Lake or Lake Barkley, I believe, and he isn't able to get down there and do it without the iBot. So, just people getting back to work and being able to do things. Yeah. Bo is one of our new recipients. He was injured last year, and he's out doing more farm work than he'd be able to do and get out and do some things that he might not be able to do, although that kid can do a lot. He's amazing.
He's speaking at the foundation banquet coming up. Is that correct?
Yes. And his mother is as well. And I'm just, one of the things that we get to do with American Mobility Project, or people know to reach out to us because of American Mobility Project, is not a tangible, and that is to be able to be there for people in their very hardest times. And I tell you what, navigating a spinal cord injury is very, very difficult. You're just hit from every direction. If you do this, then this is a problem, then that's a problem. And not that it's any worse than any other injury or illness, but it is very complicated. Everything from your house to your body to all those things. And you have no idea till it happens to you. And you shouldn't have any idea. I think before Gary was injured, I would think, oh gosh, I'm sorry their legs don't hurt or their legs don't work. You have I had no idea about all the other things that go along with it. And so one of the things that we've been able to do is just help people through the hardest times. And I think, so many people, their faith comes to the forefront as I think we all do when we go through hard times. But sometimes talking about a tangible with that faith too is helpful. Like he or she's gonna be able to get from the bed to his chair, I promise. That is going to happen. And being able to talk about that kind of hope during the hardest times has been a blessing for us. I almost feel a little selfish because being able to do that is good for me too. It's
absolutely. It's
like
gotta
a
be
healing
good for your soul.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, my hat's off to you as well, because the person with the injury, we see that, but what you've done and what Bo's mother is doing and family and the other family members, oftentimes you talk about that impact. That's very real, very real. And so absolutely tip of the hat to you as well, if understatement. But
well, thank you.
Do you tell me what role faith plays in those conversations with those families? Is that something you bring in? Is that something? Tell me about that.
With faith, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think it just kind of comes out naturally with people. It's just, I am not afraid. That's one of the things with American Mobility Project. I don't have to hide it. We can do what we want. Right. That is what we believe. And I think it's just what we can talk about. It's real. And sometimes it might feel like that's all you have, and, we all go through hard times, every single one of us, in different ways. And, our hope isn't in today. Thank goodness,
Yeah. If you're still alive and breathing, there's something out there for you. God's got further plans for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and you guys are absolute proof of that. We mentioned that Bo is going to be speaking at the foundation banquet. That is February the 25th.
Yes.
At the Wilma Rudolph Events Center, 6 p.m. How can people get involved in that banquet, and how can people get involved with the American Mobility Project?
Probably the easiest way is to visit our website, AmericanMobilityProject.org. If you want to go to the event, there's a link on there. You just click on it. And RSVP, there's no cost to attend. Meals provided. We're going to have some musical entertainment by a good friend of ours, Damian Horn, he's an excellent musician. We're going to have, you'll hear the story of American Mobility Project. You hear the story of many of our recipients, especially our newer recipients. There's going to be a silent auction as well as a live auction. That's Sammy Stewart. He's gonna run that. He does a great job, and we're gonna have some excellent items up for auction again. And then you'll have a chance to help out monetarily. Make a donation, and
you just get tickets at our website, which is AmericanMobilityProject.org, and they're complimentary tickets. And it's really a fun night. We keep it short, 6 to 8. We keep it moving along. We get you have a nice dinner. And again, like he said, with the music of Damian Horn, amazing. And keep the night moving along. And, again, the stories tell themselves. It kind of feels like you just had a great big hug when you leave at the end of the night.
I mean, I'm excited to hear Bo that night. I mean, watching Facebook friends with the family. I do know that family, and to watch him be with his friends and get on a tractor and, be on the pool table and, those things. It's been truly remarkable to see, not hear. And so I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to hear from Bo that evening.
For sure.
So are there certain partners that have been involved in the American Mobility Project that you would like to take this opportunity to mention, or that have been impactful along the way?
I'm going to give that to Mary, because she's the one that handles all the all the details of everything coming in. And
we have a lot of partners in the local area. Legends Bank's been really great with us for the last few years on doing their fundraiser. We love our friends at Project 2231, which is City Forum, and that. And just the community's been wonderful. We have some national partners with the Peace, Love, and Happiness Foundation, which is 𝗙𝗪𝗻. We just are very thankful for anybody, Lend-Lease out of Nashville, Huber Engineering Woods. And anybody that wants to get involved, we are always so thankful for their donations.
Yeah, we've had a great partnership with American Airlines. They've provided all the air travel for our recipients that go up to New Hampshire to get trained. And if we got to do something throughout the country, they've taken care of that as well. So that's been a great help.
Yep.
Well, what is next for Gary and Mary?
Oh, yeah, good question. I don't know.
Yeah.
Every year brings something new. The last couple of years we've had our personal challenges, but we've kept going, and I think we're just kind of looking forward to continuing to grow the organization. Up until last year, we've been an all volunteer nonprofit, and we finally reached the point where we decided, based on the advice of many good friends and other organizations, they're like, hey, if you're going to grow the organization, you need to hire someone to be the director, and it's too much work just for you two people to do by yourselves. You need somebody else that can devote full time and do it. So we made our first hire. We hired Kylie Eden, who I'm a little biased. I think she's pretty good, a great person, because she's our daughter.
Yeah.
Now, is she the middle?
Yeah.
Middle child.
She's the middle child.
Yeah.
She was going to join us today, but
so we just had our third grandbaby. So we're well into the grandkid thing. Gary's got his little farm out there, and he takes those grandbabies out to work the cattle and all that. So
what do they call you?
They call Gary Chief and they call me Graham.
Chief and Graham.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So, and that Chief kind of started out as a joke that the kids were asking her, like, hey, what do you want the grandkids to call you? And I was just feeling a little edgy that day. Yeah. And I was like, they can call me Chief. And so it started as a joke.
Careful what you ask for.
Yeah. But yeah, they're like, oh, Chief. And so
it's how old are they now?
So 21 months and then just 3 weeks. So
That's so exciting.
Yeah. It's a fun time.
Getting them out there on the farm and letting them grow up and see that. That's fantastic.
Get them out there and call the cows up and they mimic what they hear and they really enjoy it.
Yeah.
So now with an executive director, hopefully you can spend more time with those grandchildren.
Yeah. And as executive director, 𝗙lie can focus on, the day-to-day operations and we can kind of, we can focus on, a little more bringing in more national partners and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So American Mobility Project operates off of funding, obviously. So if there's one thing that we could do to help you, that's number one. Outside of funding, what can people do to help you with the American Mobility Project?
I think just, sharing our social media so people are aware of us for both applications for equipment for people that might be in need. And then also for donations and we don't have a huge need for volunteers because we do provide equipment and not run programs. So I think it's more just like awareness for both sides of it. Basically giving and being able to take something and use it. It's always good to get the word out there. We've had actually a van donated to us that was already made accessible, adapted, I guess. And it's because, a local businessman and his family knew about American Mobility Project. So we were able to pass that on to one of our recipients and make that connection for them. And so awareness is a huge thing.
Yeah. And also partnerships with other organizations and companies, not only locally, but throughout the country. Things like golf tournaments and trap shoots and or clay shoots rather, not trap shoots. Events like that other companies put on benefiting American Mobility Project have been very helpful as well.
Yep.
You two are fascinating to me because I can just tell at your core you're good people. And so I feel like we could sit here and talk for a little while longer. I'm being told we need to kind of wind us down a little bit. So is there a question or is there something about the American Mobility Project that I haven't asked you that you would like the listeners to know?
I think one of the things is that, it's not about the state of the art equipment. It's not about this wheelchair that can balance on 2 wheels and go up and down those stairs over there. It's about what that can do for the people. It's about getting somebody up and over a curb without being a big deal when they're walking with their kids. It's about being able to get somewhere without special attention. Everyone just kind of wants to be the same and blend in when they're out enjoying an outdoor event or a concert or something. And the equipment can help do that. Families, a lot of our things are accessible bikes and, a kid that needs an accessible bike with head support and those kinds of things wants to be able to roll up by other kids and the other kid to say, hey, cool wheels. I mean, that it's about what it provides, not what the equipment is.
Yeah. These injuries and various diseases and ailments can be very isolating for the individual and also for the family.
Sure.
So this equipment is helping overcome that and just getting you back out and being more accessible in the world. we here in the United States, we do a great job of trying to make things accessible, but even the best efforts fall short many times. A 6-inch curb can prevent you from accessing a place. And with the chair like an 𝗙𝗏𝗊, you can just roll right up over that and go about your way.
I've seen the chair in action. It's truly, I don't even know if chair is the proper terminology, but I've seen it in action, and it's truly remarkable.
Yeah.
I've seen you, as you mentioned before, at that sitting height and balancing, and it's truly remarkable.
Yeah. It's a great piece of equipment, and we wouldn't be able to. We could still live where we live, but we wouldn't be able to enjoy the land the way that we do without it.
And talking about the 𝗙𝗏𝗏 too, it's we do talk a lot about the 𝗙𝗏𝗏 because it's what we know, and we do feel it's like pretty much the best thing out there for a lot of people, not for everybody. But we are open to any kind of equipment that somebody might need. Advanced mobility equipment is in our mission. So we're not married to an 𝗙𝗏𝗏. We do all kinds of other equipment too.
Yeah, I'm sure you're seeing a big advancement in that technology, I would think.
Yeah, and we do have a small short application process, and people will approach us tell us what they need, and then we try to fulfill that. So it's like Mary said, it's not always an 𝗙𝗏𝗏. We've had track chairs, we've had other types of wheelchairs, be it electric or manual, plus the adaptive cycles, strollers, vehicles. Just somebody comes with us to a need. If we're able to fill it, we do our best to do that.
You are changing people's lives in such a positive manner that have been affected, in what they perceive as sometimes a negative, and you're there as a family member that can walk them through that. So it's absolutely to be commended. Is there anything you want to mention about Mary? Put you on the spot.
About my smoking hot wife.
About your smoking hot wife. You can say that. I cannot.
She's all mine. Yeah. No, she's a wonderful person.
Thanks.
Yeah. Huge heart, and she's always thinking ahead. She's always 3 steps ahead of me for sure. Which can be aggravating at times, but she's all over it, and a great woman, and love her greatly.
Mary?
Just, I think what I don't want ever to get lost in this is Gary's tremendous service to our country, and that is foremost who he is and who he wanted to be. And things changed for him on a fateful night, and thankful that he survived that. But it's actually through a lot of pain that we arrive at this place. Thankful for it, and still, I believe we're where we're supposed to be. And I don't believe that was supposed to happen to him, but I believe right now where we're supposed to be. So it's making the best of things. Yeah, for sure.
Mary says God's laid out a plan. We're just trying not to screw it up. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, you have truly taken Night Stalkers Don't Quit to another level.
Well, thank you.
So it's impressive. It's very impressive. As we wrap things up, I don't want to go without saying again, AmericanMobilityProject.org. Please go there. I believe there's a QR code there, if I'm not mistaken, that they can view, or I don't know exactly how that works. But view the QR code or use the QR code to get to the banquet, which is coming up February the 25th, Wilma Rudolph Events Center, 6 p.m. Bo Bryant's going to speak. His mom, his name's Mandy, as well, is going to speak at the banquet. So please get your tickets. And as Mary was mentioning earlier, take the opportunity when you see the post for the banquet over the next couple of days to share those and to continue to raise awareness for the American Mobility Project. I want to thank you both for your time, and look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah,
thank you so much for this opportunity. We thank the Millan Foundation for this as well.
Thank you.
Visit our website to stay up to date with everything going on at MillanFamilyFoundation.org. Thank you for listening to Millan Foundation Conversations. And until next time, do the next kind thing.